Hello guys, and welcome back to another video in our channel. And today we are having the first part of our match preview of the blockbuster fixture that is going to happen tomorrow, and this is the Manchester City versus Chelsea game that is scheduled to happen at the Etihad tomorrow. Master goes against his apprentice, with Pep going toe-to-toe with Enzo Maresca. Now, Pep Guardiola managed to also go toe-to-toe with his former apprentice, Luis Enrique, at PSG in midweek. Manchester City went 2-0 up, and in just a few minutes, they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. And we are going to use that to analyze what Chelsea can actually do. Now, when you look at this tactical setup, you can see the way Manchester City and PSG had lined up, with Manchester City sitting quite passive in that game and PSG dominating possession. PSG adopting the diamond midfield with a back three and two wide wingers, while Manchester City sitting in a 4-4-2. However, these two structures did not nullify each other. Especially in the first half, Manchester City were quite better in how they stopped PSG, but in the second half, it exposed Manchester City and their biggest underbelly. In our video today, we are going to look at this Manchester City weakness. We are going to show you the Achilles heel that Manchester City have and how PSG exploited this in the second half. And can Chelsea exploit this from minute one? And I believe if Chelsea turn up, play their football, they will be able to come up with a result from Manchester. Now, Manchester City lost 4-2 in this game. And this game, it was a dominance performance from PSG from minute 1 to minute 90. Just two times that Manchester City managed to score, and PSG regained possession, and from then on it was just PSG in ascendancy. PSG scored a goal in the first half that was ruled out, but we are going to understand how. Before we even start this analysis, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Luis Enrique used a particular tactical setup to exploit Manchester City. This tactical setup will form the basis of what we actually want to discuss, and this tactical setup is looking at Manchester City's out of possession structure. So what was the problem with Manchester City's out of possession structure? Now, PSG lined up in a 4-3-3, Manchester City lined up in a 4-2-3-1. But one problem that we have seen Manchester City facing throughout the season is how they are able to defend goals. Their defense has been susceptible because they are insisting on playing with a high line that is not quite aggressive. Now, PSG understood that they can go around Manchester City, especially in the wide areas. And how can they do this? Manchester City are not quite aggressive in their press. Their pressing has dropped. This can be attributed with the relative increase in age of their players, and majority of their players losing their leg strength to actually press. And PSG in particular identified that if they can have their wingers and their forwards overload one side, especially picking Manchester City fullbacks and looking to overload them, they will easily play through Manchester City's backline. In particular, they identified because Manchester City's midfield was not quite aggressive in the press, they could play balls through the channels for runners. This is PSG, and you can see Manchester City looking to try and defend. Look at how PSG has positioned themselves, and look at Manchester City. Haaland and De Bruyne are the ones who are supposed to lead the press, though both of them are currently not good at the intense pressing, allowing players such as Marquinhos the opportunity to have time and space with the ball. PSG decided to create a side overload with a winger, even a forward, and a wing back, that is Hakimi, generating the width. And now PSG has an opportunity to play the ball through the channel and expect their winger to outrun Ruben Diaz. The same thing was also happening on the other side. As you saw, the winger staying wide, the inside forward looking to attack the half space position, the striker looking to attack the position between Akanji and Ruben Diaz, forcing Akanji to stay narrow and opening that space in the channel. Kovacic and Bernardo Silva, who are covering the central positions, were not able to shift across to actually cover these zones. And this is what led to PSG creating that 3v2 overload, especially in the side, where they always had a player to outnumber them. The wide centre-back would bait a midfielder to press him and play the ball down the channels. And time again, PSG just managed to play around Manchester City. And why did they do so? It's because the centre-backs had time and space on the ball. And because of the fall of Manchester City's pressing, PSG were able to exploit this by constantly playing balls over the top, especially with Manchester City's high line. So what can Maresca do? Maresca can utilize the weapon of the man-oriented press against Manchester City. The man-oriented press can also be a secondary weapon that Chelsea can use, and Chelsea do this effectively. Now, unlike Manchester City, Chelsea have the legs because of their young squad, and they are able to maintain the aggressive man-marking system. PSG, who also had the tactical advantage of having a younger, energetic squad, were able to constantly put pressure on Manchester City's aging team, focusing a lot of pressure on players like De Bruyne, players like Bernardo Silva, players like Erling Haaland, and even betting against going 1v1 with these players. Nicholas Jackson in particular will be very important for Chelsea without the ball. Jackson's ability to run and press, especially Ederson, who was susceptible to losing the ball throughout, will be something that Chelsea will heavily need. Another player who will heavily be required is Caicedo. He will be required to cover ground, especially looking to pick players who are dropping deep, such as De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, and ensuring that these players do not have any time and space to turn and look to try and create something from this game. Now, Chelsea did that effectively against AFC Bournemouth before Chelsea became, I don't know what happened in the second half, but Chelsea pressed Bournemouth so well. In the first half, Chelsea just ensured that they stifled AFC Bournemouth by limiting them from playing from the back. They made Bournemouth a team that likes to play possession-based football to go along. And if Chelsea can employ the aggressive pressing approach they had on Bournemouth, they are surely they have an opportunity to make Manchester City capitulate and actually have Manchester City on their toes and get Chelsea the needed, desired win in this game. Pep Guardiola and Enzo Maresca will be facing off for the second time. Pep Guardiola won the last two matches, the match in the Premier League and the match in the pre-season. Maresca now has the opportunity to get one over Pep. The last time Chelsea won at the Etihad was 2021 under Thomas Tuchel, a resounding 1-1 victory. I remember that game. And Chelsea are also looking to bring in Alejandro Garnacho this January. I'm going to take time and do a video. I've already done a short to explain Garnacho's situation. And again, I really need your feedback on the YouTube shorts. Do you like the YouTube shorts? Should we continue doing the YouTube shorts? Because there's sometimes that I will be held up and the only video that I can produce is a short. So I'm really looking to try and produce more YouTube shorts that can actually be more captivating for you guys. Everything just to make you enjoy your overall experience in this channel. Chelsea will be facing Manchester City, and this is just the part 1 of this video. Keep in mind that the part 2 is going to come up, where we are going to discuss the tactics in depth. We're going to look at the Chelsea lineup that they're going to produce. We're going to look at Enzo Maresca and Pep Guardiola's press conferences. We are going to see where Chelsea can get the best out of Manchester City, and we are going to look at the dangers that Manchester City might pose for Chelsea. What do you think? Do you think that Chelsea can actually use PSG's blueprint to beat Manchester City? Leave your comments in the comment section area below. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video.